Today, we're going to be checking out the model feT from Electronic Audio Experiments. So this is a preamp based on the very famous Sunn Model T amplifier. And if you're not aware of it, this is an amplifier that a bunch of Doom guys really love. It's gotten a huge cult following, especially with the band Sunn, who have the same name as the amp company. I mean, that's how much they loved it. They named the band after the amp company that no longer exists, which is a shame because they made fantastic amplifiers. So this amp is really known for Doom, and the pedal based off of it, they really went to great lengths to really match that pedal to the amplifier. But what a lot of people don't realize is because they associate this thing with bands like Sunn and this huge Doom sound, they think the amp is just a huge, thick, saturated, fuzzy, dooming amp. And it's not. It's actually fairly clean. The reason that this amp is liked so much is it has a ton of headroom, very clean, a great voicing for fuzz and like big distortions to sit on. It's kind of more of a bit of a scoop sound with a lot of thick low ends, a lot of really clear top end, and it just makes stuff like fuzz pedals and particularly rats like the band Sunn use just sit really well on it. So this is based on that, and this doesn't have a ton of distortion. Essentially, you have your 3-band EQ, the master volume control, and then you have the 2 different channels that are essentially blended in, like on the amp. You have your normal channel, which is pretty neutral, and the more you turn that up, you just kind of get some overall kind of distortion. But it's very minimal. It's more of kind of like an overdrive, really, and not a very high gain overdrive. And then the bright, of course, is a brighter, kind of more upper mid focused kind of distortion and channel, and you blend those into taste, and you can get a little bit of kind of a crunch to it. But where it really starts to shine is if you stack another pedal in front of it, something like a rat. I have a little rat, and I'm going to stack it onto this thing so you can hear what it does, but it 100% nails that sound that you get from stacking something like a rat or a fuzz pedal in front of a Model T. I was shocked. Like all I did was dial it in very minimally, got a little bit of underlying crunch to it, and then turned on the rat, and immediately I was in huge droning heaven. It is one of the best doom metal sounds I've ever gotten, and I just immediately fell in love with it. Something else that this does that really sets it apart and helps get that big sound is that it also goes out of its way to emulate the power section to get that really clean, open, huge sounding power section that you get with an actual Model T. And that's a huge reason as to why something like the rat sounds so good on it. It doesn't immediately just compress and squash down and you know, kind of start sounding farty. It just sounds massive when you run it into this thing. I was so impressed that they were able to capture that in an analog pedal and make it just sit well with these other, you know, distortions and fuzzes. I was just blown away by it. This is such a great option for people that can't find the real amp but want that sound, because you get it immediately and you can do it quietly straight into the front of a like house if you're at a gig, right? Like just with an IR, or you can even do that at home straight into your board, or you can run into a power section like I'm going to, and then go into an IR or even a cabinet that you mic up and get that sound. You can really capture that sound. And it's for a lot of people that hasn't been so easy because you've needed to track down, you know, what are now very expensive and elusive amps from a company that hasn't existed for some time. So that's enough talking about it. We're going to hear this go into my KSR PA50, which is going into a Captor X with a IR blend of my VM1265 and DV77, and we're going to hear that inside of a mix and outside of a mix. And we're also going to hear it with my little rat from Proco going into the front of it. So at the beginning of the in mix, you're just going to hear just the pedal by itself, and then you're going to hear the little rat's going to get kicked on, and you're just going to have this huge droning sound. And we'll show it out of a mix with both of them as well, so you can really hear how this thing sounds and how it shines with other pedals. Let's check it out. I absolutely did not lie. This thing sounds incredible, especially with that little rat on there. I was completely blown away, and I'm very smitten with this pedal. As a fan of doom metal and those kind of big droning sounds, this is great. I would gig with this. I would record with this in a heartbeat. This sounds absolutely massive, and I still have a smile on my face every time I kick this on and just hit an open chord and just let it ring out. It's just so cool. So I'm gonna have a link down below so you can check this out or anything else that Electronic Audio Experiments has to offer. Thank you for watching. Stay metal.